Is that a toy? He mocked, pointing at the thin silver necklace resting against her collarbone. You still wearing cheap things, Maya? I thought by now you'd at least upgrade your life. The laugh that followed was louder than necessary. It sliced through the restaurant like glass breaking. Several people turned, some out of curiosity, others because humiliation always pulls attention. Maya didn't react immediately. Her fingers slowly lifted and rested against the small pendant. It was oval-shaped, dull silver, completely plain. No shine, no brand, no diamonds, no gold. Just simple. But the way she touched it, it meant something. Daniel leaned back in his chair, clearly enjoying the moment. His expensive watch caught the warm chandelier light as he crossed his arms. You always had a thing for cheap sentimental stuff, he continued, a voice loud enough for nearby tables to hear. I figured by now you'd at least replace it with something real. His girlfriend leaned closer, studying Maya like she was observing a curiosity. Oh my God, it actually looks like something from a street stall, she whispered, but not quietly enough. A few people chuckled. Someone muttered, That's harsh. Maya inhaled slowly. She had learned long ago that humiliation feels heavier when you react. So she didn't. She simply lowered her hand and looked back at the menu. Daniel smirked. That calmness irritated him. He wanted a reaction. He always did. You know what's funny, he added. You haven't changed at all. Still simple. Still small. The word small lingered. It wasn't about the necklace anymore. It was about her. Tasha, sitting across from Maya, finally spoke. Daniel, and that's enough. He looked at her like she was irrelevant. I'm just being honest. You're being rude, he shrugged. Same thing sometimes. His girlfriend laughed again. And that's when someone else in the room stopped moving. 3 tables away, a man in a dark suit had been quietly sipping whiskey. Calm, still, observing nothing in particular. But when Daniel pointed at the necklace, the man's eyes shifted, then froze. The glass stopped midair. His gaze locked onto the pendant. His expression changed, subtly, but completely. He lowered the glass slowly. His fingers tightened slightly around it. Because he didn't see cheap silver. He saw a symbol, one that hadn't appeared in public for 15 years. And suddenly, the quietest man in the restaurant became the most dangerous one. Maya Johnson never imagined she'd see Daniel again. Not like this. Not after everything. 3 years earlier, she believed she had her future plan. Daniel Carter was ambitious, confident, charming, the type of man who always walked like he owned wherever he stepped. He talked about investments, luxury apartments, business connections. He dreamed big. At first, Maya admired that. She worked at a bookstore then. She loved quiet spaces, old pages, soft conversations. Daniel seemed like the opposite. Loud, driven, unstoppable. She thought he would pull her forward. Instead, he slowly pushed her down. It started small. You should dress more professionally, he told her once. Then, you shouldn't tell people you work at a bookstore. Just say retail management. Then, you don't understand how image affects success. Each comment sounded helpful, but over time, they built something heavy. Daniel didn't just want success, he wanted status. And Maya didn't fit the image. He started correcting her in public, interrupting her, speaking for her. Once, during dinner with his colleagues, someone asked Maya what she did. Before she could answer, Daniel laughed. She's still figuring things out. Still. That word hurt. She had already been managing the store for 2 years. But Daniel spoke like she was temporary, insignificant. Later that night, she asked him why he said that. He shrugged. You're sensitive. Another word. Sensitive. The silent weapon of people who don't want to take responsibility. Maya didn't argue. She just grew quieter. And Daniel grew louder. The breaking point came at his company celebration. He had just secured a promotion. The event was in a rooftop bar overlooking the city. Lights glittered. Glasses clinked. Music hummed softly. Daniel introduced her to a group of executives. This is Maya, he said casually. Someone I met before my career took off. Someone, not girlfriend, not fiancé, just someone. Maya smiled politely, but inside, something shifted. Later that night, she removed her engagement ring. She placed it on his kitchen counter. Daniel stared at it. You're being dramatic. She shook her head. No, I'm being honest. He crossed his arms. You'll regret leaving me. She looked at him quietly. Maybe. And she walked out. No shouting, no tears, just silence. That was the last time she saw him, until tonight. 3 tables away, the man in the dark suit continued watching, carefully, precisely. His eyes didn't move from the necklace, because the pendant wasn't plain, not to him. On the back, barely visible, was a tiny engraving, a crest, a mark known only to a handful of people, a symbol tied to a powerful Korean underground family that vanished 15 years ago. The Han family, the most feared private syndicate in Seoul. They didn't flaunt wealth. They controlled it. They didn't show power. They exercised it quietly. And when they disappeared, the entire underworld shifted. Rumors said they were betrayed. Others said wiped out. Some believed one child survived, but no one ever proved it. And the family seal was never seen again, until now. The man slowly placed his glass down. He stood, calmly, no rush, no drama. But people moved instinctively as he walked. Something about his presence made space. He stopped beside Maya's table. Daniel looked annoyed. Yeah? The man didn't respond. He looked only at Maya, and then at the necklace. His voice was calm. May I see that? Maya blinked. The necklace? He nodded once. Daniel scoffed. It's cheap. Trust me. The man finally looked at him, and the air turned cold. I wasn't speaking to you. Daniel stiffened. Maya hesitated, then gently removed the necklace. She placed it in the man's hand. He studied it carefully, turning it slowly. His eyes darkened. Then, unexpectedly, he bowed his head slightly. To Maya, not deeply, but respectfully. The restaurant fell silent, because powerful men don't bow to strangers. Daniel laughed nervously. What is this? The man didn't respond. He looked at Maya. Where did you get this? It was inside a donated book, she said softly. His expression sharpened. Do you know what it is? She shook her head. No. He exhaled slowly. This isn't just jewelry. He paused. Because it's a family seal. Daniel burst out laughing. Okay, that's ridiculous. The man ignored him. He handed the necklace back carefully. Then he said quietly, You should keep it safe. Maya frowned. Why? He studied her face, then answered, Because things tied to this symbol tend to change lives. And with that, he returned to his table. But he didn't resume drinking. He kept watching her, because he wasn't finished, not even close. And Maya had no idea her quiet life was about to end. The restaurant slowly returned to its normal rhythm. Conversations resumed. Glasses clinked again. But something had changed. Maya could feel it. The man in the dark suit had gone back to his table, yet his presence still lingered in the air, like a quiet storm waiting to form. Tasha leaned forward immediately. Okay, what was that? Maya shook her head. I don't know. Daniel laughed again, trying to regain control of the moment. Some random guy playing detective over a cheap necklace. People are weird. But his voice wasn't as confident anymore. He had noticed something. The way the man spoke, the way he bowed, the way the room went silent. His girlfriend Lauren whispered, He looks serious. Daniel scoffed. Anyone can act serious. But he kept glancing back. Maya slowly placed the necklace back around her neck. Her fingers trembled slightly as the pendant settled against her skin. For the first time, she felt its weight. Not physical weight, meaning. What if he's right? Tasha whispered. About what? That it's important. Maya shook her head. It's just a necklace. But even she didn't fully believe that anymore. 3 tables away, the man sat motionless. His name was Kang Min-jae. Most people in the restaurant didn't know him, but the few who did avoided looking directly at him. He was known for being quiet, controlled, precise, but beneath that calm exterior was something dangerous. Min-jae pulled out his phone and sent a single message. Locate Han Seal, female, early 20s, restaurant, immediately. He placed the phone back down. His eyes returned to Maya, because if she truly possessed that pendant, everything was about to shift. Daniel stood up suddenly. Well, this has been entertaining, he said, adjusting his jacket, but we should get back to our table. He looked at Maya one more time. You should really upgrade your style. Just advice. He turned to leave, but before he could take 2 steps, his phone buzzed. He ignored it. It buzzed again and again. Annoyed, he answered. Yes? His expression changed. Wait, what? Lauren frowned. What happened? Daniel turned away slightly. No, that's not possible. The deal was finalized. Tomorrow? Why? Silence. Then, I understand. He hung up slowly. Maya watched him. What's wrong? Daniel forced a laugh. Nothing, but his jaw tightened. Lauren looked worried. Daniel? He shook his head. Just business. But inside, something was collapsing. The promotion he had bragged about, suddenly placed on hold, without explanation. Min-jae hadn't moved, but he had heard enough. He picked up his glass again. Slow sip. Eyes still on Maya. Because the moment was coming. He just needed confirmation. His phone buzzed quietly. He read the message. Seal confirmed. Han family heir token. Last issued 15 years ago. Missing after Seoul incident. Min-jae exhaled slowly. So it was real. He looked at Maya again. Not as a stranger, but as someone connected to a past he had failed to protect. 15 years ago, the Han family had been ambushed. He arrived too late. The estate burned, bodies everywhere. But one child was missing, a girl, never found. And the seal vanished with her, until tonight. Maya tried to focus on her dinner, but the food tasted different now. Every few seconds, she became aware of the pendant resting against her chest. Are you okay? Tasha asked softly. Yeah, but she wasn't. Something about that man's reaction unsettled her. Not in a bad way, just unexpected. She had worn the necklace for years. No one ever noticed. No one ever cared. Until tonight. Daniel returned to his table, but his attention wasn't on Lauren anymore. So he kept glancing back. Then he leaned closer to her. That guy, you see him? Lauren nodded. Yeah, he's been watching. So? Daniel frowned. I don't like it. Lauren shrugged. Maybe he's just curious. But Daniel didn't feel convinced. Something about the man's calmness bothered him. Minutes passed. Then the waiter approached Maya's table. Ma'am, someone has covered your bill. Maya blinked. What? The waiter gestured discreetly, toward Min-jae. Maya looked over. He inclined his head slightly, not smiling, just acknowledging. Tasha whispered, Oh, wow. Maya hesitated, then stood. She walked toward him slowly. Excuse me. Min-jae looked up. You didn't have to do that. It's nothing. I can pay for myself. I know. She frowned slightly. Then why? He answered simply. Because tonight, someone tried to make you feel small. He paused. I don't like that. Maya didn't know what to say. She glanced at the chair across from him. May I sit? He gestured. She sat. For the first time, she saw him clearly. Sharp features, calm eyes, controlled posture. Everything about him felt precise. You said this necklace is a family seal, she said quietly. Yes. Of what family? He studied her. The Han family. She shook her head. I've never heard of them. I didn't expect you to. Then why would I have it? That's what I intend to find out. Maya's heartbeat quickened. This is a lot, he nodded. Yes, she hesitated. Are you sure it's not just coincidence? Minjae leaned slightly forward. No. He turned the pendant gently. See this engraving? She leaned closer. Tiny symbol, barely visible. Now that mark isn't decorative, he said quietly. It's identification. Maya whispered. Identification for what? Minjae answered calmly. For someone born into power. Maya stared at him, unsure whether to believe anything she was hearing. For someone born into power? She repeated quietly. Kang Minjae nodded once. Yes. She gave a small, nervous laugh. I think you might be overestimating me. I work at a bookstore. I live in a small apartment. My biggest decision this week was choosing between two coffee brands. His expression didn't change. That doesn't change blood. The word blood landed heavily. Maya instinctively touched the pendant again. I don't remember anything like that, she said softly. You wouldn't, he replied. Why? Because if what I believe is true, you were taken away very young. Her heart skipped. Taken away? Minjae didn't answer immediately. He studied her face carefully as if searching for something. A resemblance, a memory, a confirmation. Then he said quietly, 15 years ago, a powerful family disappeared overnight. Their estate burned, their assets scattered, their allies forced into hiding. Maya listened silently. The only surviving heir, he continued, was a young girl. She vanished before anyone could find her. Maya's throat tightened. And you think that's me? He didn't rush his answer. I think, he said calmly, that you are wearing the only seal that girl carried. Maya leaned back slightly. This sounds impossible. Yes. And yet, here we are. She looked down at the necklace again. Simple, plain, unremarkable, and suddenly, terrifying. Across the restaurant, Daniel was watching. His irritation had turned into curiosity. Now it was turning into unease. Maya was sitting with that man, talking seriously, and the more they talked, the more the room seemed to orbit around them. Lauren noticed too. They're still talking. Daniel nodded. I see that. You think she knows him? No. Then why? I don't know. Daniel didn't like not knowing. He especially didn't like the idea that Maya, the same woman he once dismissed as simple, might suddenly be connected to something he didn't understand. He stood up again. I'm going to check something. Lauren frowned. Daniel, don't start drama. He smirked. I'm not starting anything. But he walked straight toward them. Maya noticed him first. Her shoulders stiffened. Minjae didn't even look up. Daniel stopped beside the table. Well, looks like you found yourself an interesting conversation. Silence. Minjae remained calm. Maya spoke politely. Daniel, we're just talking. About what? He asked, glancing at Minjae. Her toy necklace again? Minjae finally looked at him. The calmness in his eyes was colder this time. Mockery becomes dangerous when repeated. Daniel smirked. Dangerous? It's a cheap pendant. Minjae leaned back slightly. Is that what you see? Yes. That explains a lot. Daniel folded his arms. You know what I see? A stranger filling her head with fantasy. Maya spoke quietly. Daniel, that's enough. But he wasn't finished. You always believed in meaningless things, he continued. Sentimental junk, stories, dreams. Minjae spoke calmly. And you believe in money. Daniel turned to him. Yes, because money is real. Minjae nodded. Money is loud. He paused. Power is quiet. Daniel chuckled. That sounds dramatic. It's true. Daniel leaned slightly forward. And what kind of power are we talking about? Minjae didn't answer directly. Instead, he asked, What do you do, Daniel? Daniel blinked. Finance. Company? Carter and Blythe Investments. Minjae nodded slightly. Mid-sized firm. Recently acquired 2 logistics partners. Daniel frowned. How do you know that? Minjae ignored the question. And you're expecting a promotion tomorrow? Daniel's eyes widened. How do you? Minjay tilted his head slightly. Plans change. Daniel felt a chill. What does that mean? Minjay's voice remained calm. It means you should be careful who you mock. Daniel scoffed. You're threatening me over a necklace? No. Minjay leaned forward slightly. And I'm warning you about ignorance. Daniel clenched his jaw. This is ridiculous. He looked at Maya. You actually believe this? Maya hesitated. I don't know what to believe. Daniel shook his head. Exactly. He turned to leave. But before he could walk away, his phone rang again. He answered immediately. Yes? Silence. Then his expression drained. What do you mean canceled? Lauren stood up. Daniel? No. The meeting is tomorrow. You can't just... Pause, then. I understand. He ended the call slowly. Maya looked at him. What happened? Daniel didn't answer. He looked at Minjay instead, and for the first time, doubt appeared in his eyes. Minjay simply picked up his glass, calm, unbothered. Daniel swallowed. My promotion just got postponed. Minjay didn't react. Daniel stared. You did that? Minjay replied quietly. Adam, I didn't do anything. He paused. I just made a call. The silence that followed was heavy. Lauren stepped back slightly. Daniel's confidence began to crack. You're bluffing. Minjay didn't respond. Daniel forced a laugh. Yeah, this is just coincidence. Minjay finally spoke. If that helps you sleep. Daniel looked at Maya, then back at Minjay. Something inside him told him this wasn't coincidence, and for the first time since entering the restaurant, he wasn't in control anymore. Daniel stood frozen beside the table. The confidence he walked in with was gone. His promotion, the one he had bragged about minutes earlier, suddenly postponed. No explanation, no warning, and the man sitting in front of Maya hadn't even raised his voice. That calmness terrified him more than anger would have. You're bluffing, Daniel said again. Hey, but this time his voice lacked conviction. Kang Min-jae slowly placed his glass down. I don't bluff. Daniel swallowed. Lauren stepped closer to him. Let's just go, she whispered. But Daniel didn't move. His ego wouldn't let him. He looked at Maya instead. This is crazy, he said. You're seriously sitting here believing some stranger telling you you're part of some powerful family? Maya didn't answer immediately. She looked down at the pendant, then back at Minjay. I don't know what I am, she admitted softly. Daniel laughed, trying to regain control. You're the same person you were 3 years ago. Nothing changed. Minjay spoke quietly. Everything changed the moment you laughed at her. Daniel turned sharply. Oh, please. Minjay continued calmly. If you saw something simple and assumed it was worthless. Daniel rolled his eyes. Because it is. Minjay leaned slightly forward. No, he paused. You mistook quiet for weak. Silence. The entire nearby area had gone quiet again. People were pretending not to listen, but everyone was. Daniel scoffed. You talk like you know her, Minjay answered honestly. I know what that symbol represents. Daniel crossed his arms. And what is that? Minjay looked at Maya, then spoke slowly. It represents a family that once controlled shipping routes, private security networks, and investment channels across 3 countries. Daniel laughed nervously. That sounds like a movie. It's history. Daniel shook his head. So now she's secretly rich? Is that what you're saying? Minjay tilted his head slightly. Not rich. He paused. Not powerful. The word landed differently. Money can be lost. Power is different. Daniel felt his irritation turning into discomfort. You expect me to believe she's some hidden heiress? Minjay didn't respond. Instead, he reached into his jacket and placed a small black card on the table. No logo, no name, just a number. If you want answers, he said to Maya, call this. Daniel smirked. Very dramatic. Minjay ignored him. He stood slowly, tall, composed, controlled. But before he turned to leave, he looked at Daniel one last time. You laughed at her publicly. Daniel frowned. So? Minjae's voice stayed calm. You'll apologize publicly. Daniel laughed. No. Minjae nodded once. Then he took out his phone, dialed one number, spoke only 3 words. Proceed with review. He ended the call. Daniel scoffed. Why this again? 10 seconds later, Daniel's phone rang. He answered. Yes? His face turned pale. What? No, that account is cleared. Wait, you're freezing it. You can't just... Silence, then quietly. I understand. He hung up slowly. Lauren whispered. Daniel? He didn't answer. Maya looked at him. What happened? Daniel's voice came out strained. My investment account is under review. Minjae adjusted his cuff calmly. That's unfortunate. Daniel stared. You did that, Minjae replied softly. You're misunderstanding something. He stepped closer. I'm not punishing you. Pause. I'm correcting balance. Daniel's hands clenched. You can't do this. Minjae tilted his head. I already did. The restaurant had completely fallen silent now. People were openly watching. Daniel felt it. The same attention he used to humiliate Maya was now on him, and he hated it. Minjae spoke again. You humiliated her. He looked around the room. In public. Then back at Daniel. So you'll apologize? Daniel shook his head. No. Minjae nodded. His phone buzzed. He read it, then calmly said, Your company's logistics partner just withdrew from tomorrow's deal. Daniel's breath caught. That's impossible. Minjae looked at him. You'll apologize. Daniel's voice dropped. You're insane. Minjae's expression remained neutral. Another buzz. He glanced again. Second partner, also withdrawn. Daniel felt the ground slipping. Lauren stepped back slightly. She didn't understand what was happening, but she knew something powerful was unfolding. Daniel looked around. People watching, whispering, judging. Exactly how Maya felt minutes earlier. His throat tightened. The words stuck. Minjae waited, calm, patient. Daniel looked at Maya. She wasn't smiling. She wasn't gloating. She just watched quietly. That made it worse. I'm sorry, Daniel muttered. Minjae tilted his head. Louder. Daniel's face burned. I'm sorry, Maya. Minjae didn't move. Daniel swallowed. I shouldn't have laughed at your necklace or insulted you. Silence. The humiliation reversed. Perfectly. Cleanly. Completely. Minjae nodded once. Good. He stepped back. Daniel's phone buzzed again. He answered cautiously. Yes? Pause. Really? His shoulders relaxed slightly. Okay. Thank you. He ended the call. Lauren asked, What now? Daniel whispered. The review paused. He looked at Minjae. Realization hit. This man hadn't just threatened him, and he controlled the outcome. Minjae turned to Maya. You didn't ask for revenge. She shook her head. No. But sometimes dignity needs restoration. Maya looked at him quietly. Why are you helping me? For the first time, his voice softened. Because 15 years ago, I failed to protect that family. She frowned. What do you mean? Minjae exhaled slowly. The Han family trusted me. I arrived too late. Their estate burned. Their allies scattered. He paused. The heir vanished. He looked at her necklace. If you are that heir, then I won't fail again. Maya's heart pounded. This is overwhelming. I know. She touched the pendant again. It was just a necklace. Minjae shook his head gently. No. He looked directly at her. It was always a key. She whispered. A key to what? He answered calmly. To everything that was taken from you. Daniel stood silently nearby. For the first time, completely irrelevant. Maya slowly stood. Her fingers closed around the pendant. I don't know who I am yet. Minjae nodded. That's okay. She looked at him. But I want to find out. For the first time, a faint smile appeared on his face. Then your life just changed. He gestured toward the exit. Shall we? Maya hesitated, then nodded. She walked beside him, not as someone humiliated, not as someone small, but as someone stepping into a hidden identity. Behind her, Daniel sat down slowly, powerless, silent, watching the woman he once mocked walk away with a man who controlled the room without raising his voice. Outside, the night air felt different. Maya exhaled slowly. What happens now? Minjae answered quietly. And now, you learn who you really are. She looked down at the necklace, the same simple silver pendant, the same one Daniel laughed at. But now, it felt heavier, meaningful, powerful. And as they stepped into the waiting black car, the quiet life Maya once knew disappeared behind her. The girl who wore a cheap necklace was gone, and in her place walked the last heir of a forgotten empire. And this time, no one laughed.